Good morning. Hope you're ready for Thanksgiving. Happy holidays to you, man. Giving thanks just for you checking out my videos as well. Today, I want to talk about temporary presence. The presence of a mentor, someone you love, someone in your life, and then it's taken away. What does that mean? What did you learn from it? And I'm going to give you some lessons in my life that as I was out this morning doing my morning run, it just really inspired me about a couple of people and a couple of stories that shed light on what their purpose was and why they didn't stay forever. First example is my mother's first husband. He's the father of my brother. His name was Greg. And I remember when he was in the military, he's in the Air Force, and we had moved to Valdosta, Georgia. It's where I went to school, elementary school. I want to say first grade there. And unbelievably, I had a lisp when I was younger. And they were looking at putting me in special education classes. I'll never forget this. You know, I couldn't do my L's and my R's. I'm like, I couldn't really talk. Surprisingly that I had a career, I have a career in radio speaking and I do all that stuff now. Well, he would not allow that. I never forget when he came to the school and him and my mother would not allow me to be put into special education classes. Now, that meant that when I got home, I had to read, I had to learn. I got whippings, things happened. I had to get my grades right. There was no acceptance of being a special ed student. Now, if you would have asked me about that years ago, especially when I was young, I would have just thought this was the most horrible thing in the world. They told me I cannot talk. They told me I have a lisp. They're going to help me, put me in special education classes. But I tell you this, and I didn't learn a whole lot from Greg, but I did learn something from Greg and my mother's effort for me not to accept what anyone puts on your life as far as a handicap, a disability, or anything that's going to hold you back from moving forward in your life. Do not accept anything that somebody puts on your life that's going to hold you back. And I learned that even though he was in my life for a temporary presence, a temporary reason, but I still learned something from that changed my life. I'm going to give you a second story that's more closer to home. When I was finishing up my grad studies at Full Sail University, I used to work at a place called Chewy.com. Chewy.com is the big dog food company. They like Amazon online. They just run all of that. At that time, I was a customer service representative. I met this guy named Jason. Jason had a website called Good Vibe Strategies. I met him through a mutual friend, and he said, I need help with my website. At this time, I was finishing up school marketing, and I helped build a website and build a platform for him to teach his classes. So one day he picks me up and he says, hey man, how much would it take for you to come work for me full time? And I didn't have an answer. He said, you don't really know your number, do you? I said, no, I don't know my number. I said, I apologize. He said, well, I want you to come on full time. I want you to go home and put together your expenses, put together what you think you can live off of and have a good life, and you come back to me. I went home and put everything together. I came back. I told him, I think this will be a great way for me to get by. He said, bet. I'll pay you that. Quit your job. The funny thing about that is I got that kind of blessing and I still went back to work and was scared and full of fear of quitting that job that was paying me, I want to say $8.75, maybe I think $9 an hour at the most if I worked some overtime. Finally, I got the nerve to quit. I walked away, started working with Jason in that December. I went home for the holidays and we did about a month and a half into it. And right around January, when I was getting ready to go to Texas to propose to my wife, he fired me. So there I was out there, and the one thing that I feared the most happened, because now I got a woman that I want to marry. She has a child. I'm getting custody of my son, and I don't have any job or any income. And I already bought these tickets to Texas, and I got to fly out here and propose. And I remember we talked about it. I said, I don't really think we should get married. I can't afford it. I can't bring all of you here, and we don't have the money. I say that to say this. In that instance, at first I was very, 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 very angry about what happened. I was upset. I felt like it was unfair. I didn't know what was going on. Why would he have me step out of my job and then give me like 2 checks and then let me go? In retrospect, Jason taught me the value of knowing my number and who I am. And being that he let me go so quickly, I had to go out and start my business. I had to start building websites for people. I had to find ways to bring money in the house. I had no choice. My back was against the wall, and I had to kill that Goliath one way or the other. It forced me to think as an entrepreneur. It forced me to go out and make connects. It forced me to do those things. And so this morning, I want to say to Jason, I don't know if he ever sees these, or even anybody that's ever been in my life that has been a part of my life, been a temporary presence that's walked away. I want to say I'm grateful for you. And I want to say that I bless you and I thank you for everything. Because sometimes things seem really, really bad in the first instance, and we like, this thing is not working out. Why is this happening to me? Blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. Everything that happens has a blessing attached to it. And with every blessing, there's a burden. You cannot get the blessing without the burden. The burden is going to come from dealing with your emotions, dealing with how you feel about the situation. But when I look back at it, I would not be an entrepreneur right now. I would not have my tenacity and my audacity to believe that I can start from the bottom at any time and still make it work. I wouldn't have none of that if he would have just kept me there and pacified my ability to cling on to the fact that he's willing to pay me whatever I needed to survive. I wouldn't have it. If my mother's first husband wouldn't have stood up and said, no, we're not going to put him in special ed classes, I wouldn't be here doing videos. I wouldn't be a public speaker. I wouldn't be a motivational speaker. I wouldn't have had a 12-year radio career. I would not have none of that if it wasn't for those temporary presence that I had, from the people in my life. I say that to say this. If circumstances come up and people walk out of your life, send them along with a blessing. Be strong enough and courageous to say, thank you for the time that we've had. Thank you for what you put in my life. And regardless of how this is ending, I want to send you off with a blessing. Anything that I can do, you let me know. All emotions to the side. That's a great way to start off being grateful and being thankful for this holiday that's coming up, for Thanksgiving. Be thankful for the people and strong enough for the people that walk out of your life. Understand they were a temporary presence, but you learn something very positive from it. And I'm going to finish by telling you this about presence. Let me just talk about God. God has walked with me through every instance where someone has walked out of my life or something's came up. He was there when in my first marriage, when me and my son was sleeping in my car. He was there when I lost my job. He was there when I was trying to find a job. He was there when I was stealing and doing things to try to eat. He was there when friends left. He was there when family turned their back. He was there the whole time. He has walked with me into hospitals. He has walked me through diabetes. He has walked me through high blood pressure. He has walked with me through everything. He's walking me through jail. He done walked with me through courtrooms. He done walked with me in every area of my life. So understand that no matter what the world and what man tells you, he is still walking with you. And that's just enough in the world. That's enough to be thankful. I can never fix my mouth to say that I don't have a blessed life. All right? So I say that for you to understand that temporary presence of man will never trump the all omnipresence of God. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving. Be blessed. All right?